Releasing a statement about the death of one of their students tonight, saying this is a heartbreaking loss. It's being felt deeply across our community. We are in contact with the woman's family and offering our deep condolences and resources at this difficult time. 3 of the victims are also from New Jersey. Another person is from India, killed when that tour bus was returning from Niagara Falls back to New York City yesterday. Police say the driver, who is from Flushing, showed no signs of impairment, and the tour bus had no apparent mechanical issues. Almost all of the people on board wound up in the hospital to be checked out for some sort of injuries. The first singles matches at the U.S. Open are tomorrow morning. The final Grand Slam of the tournament has the biggest stars of the tennis world in New York City playing at Flushing Meadows. There's quite a lineup. On the women's side, Coco Gauff, who just let her coach go, will face world number 1 Irina Sabalenka. It will revisit their rivalry that began back at the French Open earlier in the summer. And over on the men's side, world number 1 Jannik Sinner is back to defend his U.S. Open title. The prize for both sides will be $5 million. Well, New York City beaches are back open after days of closures from Hurricane Erin, and it was a welcome sight to many who headed out today.
Green flags are flying again at Coney Island, and swimmers jumped right in. This mom from Sunset Park says this was a pleasant surprise.
We didn't know if it was going to be open, but it is, and that's great.
She says closing the beach earlier in the week was the right call.
It's a good idea. Keep people safe.
Officials still warn about dangerous rip currents. Brian McConaughey says lifeguards are making sure no one forgets the risk.
We're safe enough, yeah. I mean, there's about 1 million lifeguards out there. It feels like anytime someone gets a little too close to the rocks or far away from the beach, they start whistling.
Lifeguard whistles remind parents fun in the surf still comes with caution. Darius Ranzi's 1010 wins at 92.3 FM at Coney Island Beach.
Some beaches in Suffolk County were still closed today. New Jersey's beaches are back open, but there are swimming advisories in effect. Well, more good news for the Democratic frontrunner for New York City Mayor Zoran Mondani raised nearly twice as much as all of his competitors. According to the latest campaign finance report released yesterday, Mondani raised over $1 million. Former Governor Cuomo brought in $540,000, Mayor Adams $425,000, and Republican Curtis Sliwa had just over $400,000. The filings date between July 12th and August 18th. Mondani received an average donation of $121 from more than 8,000 donors. Recent polling from Siena College shows him up overall by 19 points. A Maryland man whose deportation case became a flashpoint in President Trump's immigration agenda, Gilmar Abrego Garcia, he could soon be sent to Uganda.
After the Trump administration was ordered by a court to bring Abrego Garcia back to the U.S., he was detained and accused of human smuggling in a 2022 traffic stop. Charges Abrego Garcia has pleaded not guilty to and says are a retaliation for fighting his deportation case. On Friday, Abrego Garcia was released from a Tennessee jail as he awaits a trial. But immigration officials say Abrego Garcia has been ordered to report to immigration authorities on Monday to be deported to Uganda after declining an offer to be sent to Costa Rica in exchange for remaining in jail and pleading guilty to the human smuggling charges. I'm Donna Warder.
A fire about an hour northeast of New Orleans at Smitty's Supply in Roseland is continuing to burn out of control. There was a massive explosion that led to an evacuation in Louisiana yesterday, and the extension of those warnings is still going on. Debris has been found all over Tanapino River, and water samples are being retrieved. The parish president there, Robbie Miller, offering an update.
We're still fighting a fire, a big fire. It's not as big as it was yesterday, but it is big still. And that fire has to be put out before we can make a lot of determination on what's going on to be able to even investigate more.
And dozens of residents within a 1-mile radius of that facility were evacuated. Soot from what could contain combustibles and hydrocarbon chemicals coated the entire community. Residents, even in outlying areas, have been told to avoid any direct contact with the soot and remain indoors. And if they do come in contact with it, make sure to please wash out their eyes, health officials say. Well, coming up, a check of the changing AccuWeather forecast and traffic are on the way. WINS News Time, 7:11. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Susan Browning.
And starting off in New Jersey, in Edison, southbound Turnpike, car lanes, that's the inner roadway, just past exit 9. You've got a 2-lane crash slowing things down back to exit 10. Actually, it's a little bit past that at this point. In Brooklyn, the westbound BQE, it's a stop-and-go situation from the Willie B to Atlantic Avenue. And the Gowanus moving eastbound, slowing between the Prospect and Atlantic Avenue. But that's all just volume. Let's take a look at those river crossings. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. The Goethals, about 15 minutes onto the Staten Island Expressway. It's all volume. It starts to loosen up around the West Shore Expressway. I'm not seeing any issues in Verrazano, but the Brooklyn Bridge, that's always a bit of a slow go heading into that borough. And here's what we see in Long Island's Big 3. Westbound LIE at Glen Cove Road. A crash there, slowing things down on the eastbound side of the LIE at Grand Avenue. Couple lanes blocked down, towing the scene just about cleared away. The jam up for that goes back to the BQE ramp on the LIE. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and the tunnels. Inbound Holland South Tube, still that stall lingering there, but 30 minutes or less coming inbound for both the Lincoln and the Holland. The George looks about 30 minutes coming inbound, so it loosened up just a little bit. Pretty much the same for routes 46 and 4 on the inbound George. Going out about 20 minutes. Susan Browning, 1010 WINS at 92.3 FM.
And now the active weather forecast. Here's meteorologist Brian Thompson.
After a beautiful day today, the humidity is going to start to come up a bit as we head through tonight under a clear to partly cloudy sky. We'll get down to 68 for an overnight low. We'll have a mix of sun and clouds for tomorrow. It's going to be somewhat humid. Might be a stray thunderstorm north and west of the city later on. Tomorrow's high around 81. We'll have some clouds tomorrow night. It's going to be muggy with a thunderstorm in parts of the area, low close to 70. And as we head into Monday, it will be humid with more clouds and sunshine. Will be a thunderstorm around in the morning, then a leftover shower in spots in the afternoon as the humidity starts to drop. Monday's high about 82, and Tuesday a nice day as the humidity drops even lower. It'll be a very nice day with sunshine much of the time and a high of 78. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson on New York's weather station, 1010 WINS on 92.3 FM.
Coming up, how climate change is affecting the growth of city trees. The Texas Republican-led legislature has now given the final approval to redraw congressional maps there as the battle over redistricting rages on.
The state Senate passed the bill early this morning. It now heads to Governor Greg Abbott's desk, who called a second special session last Saturday to get it passed. House Democrats killed the first special session after they fled the state for 2 weeks to avoid a vote. The rare mid-decade redistricting likely creates 5 more congressional seats, favoring Republicans ahead of the midterm elections.
That was correspondent Michelle Miller. Climate change is affecting growing season in New York City when it comes to the trees. A new Yale study is finding that spring is not coming early. It's coming later as a result of climate change. And the warm winters are causing the city's trees to miss cues to leaf out for the spring. And this is resulting in late leafing and shorter green periods. Research also found that the reduced green season can affect growth overall. Yale researchers say the results are surprising, and it could be the beginning of a trend the park managers say could lead to tree die-outs overall. Well, the Yankees can't blame a squirrel today. They lost again to the Red Sox in the Bronx. But did you see it yesterday? A squirrel ran right onto the field at Yankee Stadium during last night's game. It caused a brief delay. The speedy critter emerged from an area behind home plate in the 4th inning and stopped right by one of the Red Sox feet as the batter was ready to go. And the squirrel then headed to the third base foul line before heading up to the pitcher's mound, and pitching ace Max Fried didn't look happy, gave it a bit of a glare. Little guy eventually drifted off the field. It's not even the first time that a squirrel has halted play at Yankee Stadium. Well, beef prices, they've been rising fast this year, but people are still out there buying.
From ranches in Texas.
We've had a lot of drought the past couple of years, and so it's been harder and harder to keep enough grass to feed the cows.
To Mississippi.
It is simply supply and demand. We have historically low cattle numbers.
Cattle prices are higher. Ground beef prices up 10% from last year, up 50% over the past 5 years, and it's expected they'll go higher.
Right now, this is the highest prices it's been in history.
Bill Howard's been raising cattle for half a century, but despite rising prices, this butcher in Seattle says,
I think everyone's just still buying beef, even though prices are so high. People love beef, and there's no choice, and they're willing to pay the extra price.
correspondent Steve Cape, and an update on the rip currents is on the way.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good evening. It's 76 degrees at 7:20. I'm Suzanne Colucci, and here's what's happening. A Columbia student has been identified as one of those killed in the tour bus crash near Buffalo. A 5-year-old is rushed off Fire Island by a boat after being bitten by a Doberman. Today was the last chance to enjoy summer streets. Israeli airstrikes and gunfire killed dozens today in Gaza. It's Kobe Bryant's birthday, and there's word a film about his life is on the way. Sports, the Yankees got crushed by the Red Sox in the Bronx. The Mets play the Braves in Atlanta tonight. Wins News Time, 7:21. Let's get you where you need to go. Here is Susan Brown.
And here's what we see on Long Island. The LIE eastbound at Grand Avenue. They're still working on clearing that crash there, and the jam is back to the VQE ramp onto the LIE. Westbound LIE right around Glen Cove Road. Beware of a crash taking down at least one lane of traffic. 7th State westbound at Meadowbrook. You've got a crash there. Delays go back to around exit 25, which is Route 106. And in the Bronx, southbound Deegan ramp to the westbound side of the Cross Bronx. The crash being northbound there. And you're slow from around Fordham Road on that southbound Deegan. In Queens, westbound belt after Lefferts, you've got a 1-lane crash, a slow ride there from the Brown Lake. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. So we had a stall cleared away on the inbound Holland, and now another one, a new one on the outbound side. So 30 minutes or less for actually both tubes coming inbound. Going outbound, not seeing a major issue. The George coming in about 30 minutes. Pretty much the same for routes 46 and 4. Going outbound about 20 minutes. Susan Browning, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
The victims of Friday's horrific tour bus crash in upstate New York are now being identified, and a 22-year-old Columbia student, Ji Hangzhou from China, is among them. Columbia releasing a statement tonight calling it a heartbreaking loss being deeply felt across the community as the investigation into how this happened plays out.
Authorities say the tour bus left from New York City with 54 people on board and was on its way back from Niagara Falls when it spun out of control at full speed outside Buffalo. First responders desperately working to free survivors, many trapped under the bus. Authorities scrambling extra buses to move the injured. 4 medical choppers flying in to rush the most critical patients to hospitals.
And that was correspondent Morgan Norwood. Right now, the NTSB is on the scene along Interstate 90 in Pembroke, trying to piece together how this happened. Here's board member Thomas Chapman.
Our mission is to understand not just what happened, but why it happened, and to recommend changes to prevent it from happening again.
3 of the victims are from New Jersey. One of the people killed was from India. Police say the driver, who's from Flushing, showed no signs of impairment, and the tour bus had no mechanical failure. Almost all of the more than 50 people on the bus, ranging in age from 1 to 74, suffered some type of injuries, ranging in degree. A 5-year-old boy is in the hospital after he was bitten by a dog on Fire Island. Suffolk Marine officers were called to the home on Juniper Avenue, taking the boy to the hospital by boat. Cops say the Doberman that bit him was owned by a family member who was staying at the house. The boy is expected to be okay. Today was the last chance to enjoy summer streets. The city's car-free program transforming parts of the Bronx and Brooklyn.
Instead of cars and horns, pedestrians, bicyclists, and of course, runners take over Eastern Parkway. Runner Jared Becker says it feels like a whole new city.
There's like a sense of community. I think it's similar to the first warm day in New York when everyone's out at the park. Everyone's kind of enjoying it together.
Laura Walker made sure to come out to enjoy the last weekend of summer streets this year. She wishes the program happened more often.
Sad. I wish the street was closed more, but understand why they don't.
For families, it's a rare chance to turn the street into their own playground. Darius Ramsey, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM in Prospect Heights, Brooklyn.
Bloomberg Money Watch is next.
Hey, Yankees fans, come out to Yankee Stadium on Friday, September 5th, when the Yankees host the Toronto Blue Jays. And be ready to receive the Yankees promotional giveaway. It's Austin Wells Football Jersey Night. The first 18,000 guests will receive an Austin Wells football jersey. Presented by Bank of America. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com/tickets. Again, don't miss the Yankees and Blue Jays for Austin Wells Football Jersey Night on Friday, September 5th. Visit Yankees.com/tickets today.
Now, Bloomberg Money Watch.
Some recent college graduates appear to be losing out on jobs to artificial intelligence. New York Fed research shows that going back to 1990, the jobless rate for college grads is below the rate for U.S. workers overall. But in recent years, that trend has started to reverse. Matthew Martin, a senior economist at Oxford Economics, appeared on Bloomberg's Wall Street Week with David Weston.
It's hard to very parse through and to say, X amount of this issue is because of AI, X amount is because of just slower demand overall. But when we look at the numbers, there definitely could be a connection there.
Martin sees tech and finance jobs as being vulnerable when it comes to AI. Blair Efron is a co-founder of the investment bank Centerview Partners. He's positive on AI over the long haul, but in the near term...
Given all the positives, we have to absolutely look out for the watch-out sign. What is going to go on with employment?
How should future job seekers approach AI? Efron stresses a focus on the humanities and deep critical thinking and broadening the array of fields that one might consider a fit. I'm Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Money Watch on 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
AccuWeather says a nice-looking evening to be out and about, clear to partly cloudy, becoming a little more humid as the night wears on. We're going to go down to 68 degrees. And then for tomorrow on Sunday, sunny, a little more humidity, and a stray thunder shower just possible north and west of the city later on in the day. The high is expected to be 81 degrees. Good evening. I'm Suzanne Colucci. Winds News Time at the Tone, 7:30.
Good evening, I am Stephanie Officer. The United Nations has released a report on starvation in the Gaza Strip, and Israel has reacted. Details on the UN-backed group's account of famine in Gaza City.
The 59-page report finding that more than 500,000 people across the Gaza Strip are facing catastrophic conditions of starvation, destitution, and death, adding that 132,000 children under the age of 5 are at risk of death from acute malnutrition. Israel quickly responding to the report, firmly rejecting the claim of famine, saying it is biased and based on Hamas sources, denying there is any starvation in the Strip. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu dismissing the report as an outright lie.
Correspondent Lama Hassan, Friday's famine report by the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification said nearly 500,000 people, or about a fourth of Gaza's population, face catastrophic hunger. And in northern Gaza, Israeli gunfire killed at least 5 aid seekers. When's News Time, 7:31. Let's get you where you need to go. Susan Browning.
And we start off in New Jersey. We do have delays on the Pulaski Skyway northbound from Broadway to south of Tunnelly Circle in Jersey City. It's just volume. All lanes are open. Just want to give you the heads up on that. The eastern spur of the northbound turnpike from interchange 15W at interchange 15W, I should say, in Newark. You've got delays, again, all volume. The southbound turnpike car lanes, the inner roadway past exit 9. You've got a crash there being worked on, but I'm not seeing a major delay there in New Jersey, so a bit of good news. Now in Rockland County on the southbound thruway in Nyack, a crash stealing a lane if you're headed to the Tappan Zee. So, yeah, you got a bit of a slow go back to the Garden State Connector. But if you're heading to the Tab into Westchester, you've got a good ride. In fact, both ways, it's looking good. Here's what you need to know about the other bridges and tunnels. 30 minutes for the inbound Hudson tubes and about 20 minutes going outbound. So here's what's up with the George coming inbound. Close to 40 minutes on 8095. If you can come from routes 46 or 4, that's going to be 25 minutes or less. Susan Browning, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
Now your official 1010 Wins AccuWeather forecast with meteorologist Brian Thompson.
With a mostly clear sky tonight, it's going to start to turn a little more humid with a low of 68. Tomorrow, still a mainly dry day with a partly sunny sky. It will be somewhat humid with maybe a stray thunderstorm north and west of the city late, a high of 81. Keep in mind, there's still going to be a high risk of rip currents through tomorrow evening for the south shore of Long Island and at the Jersey Shore. Now, tomorrow night we'll have a somewhat better chance for a thunderstorm. It'll be warm and sticky, a low close to 70. Then a humid day on Monday with more clouds and sun. There will be a thunderstorm around in the morning, but just a leftover shower later on as the humidity drops in the wake of the cold front. Monday's high 82. Much less humid on Tuesday with sunshine much of the time, a high of 78. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson on New York's weather station, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
At least 12 people are dead, 4 are missing in China after a railway bridge under construction collapsed yesterday. That's according to the country's official state news agency. The bridge, which was nearing completion in Qinghai province, collapsed when a steel cable snapped around 3 a.m., causing a part to plummet into the water below. More than 800 people joined the rescue effort Friday. There were 16 workers at the site at the time. The government is investigating the cause of the collapse, which the news agency said was an accident. A new chapter in the Trump administration's immigration crackdown.
A judge has ruled the Trump administration cannot deny funding to Boston, Chicago, Denver, Los Angeles, and 30 other cities and counties. U.S. District Judge William Orrick in San Francisco extended a preliminary injunction.